What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. I am your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, and you know I got another banger for you. So kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Man, what a game last night between the Indiana Fever and the Las Vegas Aces. Went down to the wire. The Fever just ran out of gas and came up a bit short. But the three-headed monster that has led them all year, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, led the way for this group once again in the loss. But this core, the fact that we've seen just the advancement, the chemistry, and the uptick of production since the break is just a very promising sign for the future. They have a legitimate three-headed monster with these three to build around and lead this franchise to the future. I feel like, honestly, the Fever are genuinely like the Aces just a few years ago, stacking draft picks, molding a young core, establishing a culture, learning how to win, although they're ahead of the curve in many standards. But I think they're the Aces a few years ago, and we see the Aces now are two-time champions. I think the Fever are setting up to be that next dynasty, and even Coach Becky Hammon, after her team beat the Fever, had some, she recognized game. She had some words about this big three.
They're a legit three-headed monster. So you have to play defense against this team. Otherwise, they're just too good offensively. We don't want to get into a situation where we have to outscore them because they really have some unbelievable scores.
I completely agree. You do not want to get into a shootout with the Fever. You do not want to get into an arms race where it's just trading bucket for bucket, because the majority of the teams in the WNBA are not going to be able to score with this team. You got Kelsey Mitchell, who held it down for the whole first half and kept this game close and within contention just with her three-point shooting and getting to the cup as well. But she was hot in that first half, lighting it up. When Aaliyah Boston had stepped out for a little bit, when Caitlin was completely cold, third quarter comes, Caitlin hits you over the head for 14. Like, it's just, they can come in spurts. They can be locked in for four quarters. You never know whose night is going to be, who's going to light you up first. You know, I can't even say whose night is going to be. You don't know whose quarter is going to be, man. Like, looking at their numbers, this big three for the Fever are playing at career levels right now. And Caitlin has made things a lot easier for everybody in the Fever offense, especially like last night breaking the single season assist record. Aaliyah Boston had 14 points, 2 assists, and 8 rebounds, and her playmaking ability helps as well. Kelsey Mitchell with a big 20 points and 2 rebounds for her. Caitlin Clark flirted with the triple-double with 18 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. And I know we're talking about the big three, but Dantas, man, 11 points in 16 minutes, I think, showed some very, very exciting flashes of her capability shooting the basketball, adding another dynamic to this team. But the big three have been incredible, man. On the year, Caitlin is averaging 19.1 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 8.4 assists, leading the league in assists right now. Since the All-Star break ended, Kelsey Mitchell is leading the league in scoring right now as well. On the season, she's averaging 19.3 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 1.8 assists. And I can't remember the last time she didn't have at least 20 in a game. It's been since like September 4th. She is on a tear right now. Last 4 games, she's had 20 plus. Just on a tear, man. And they play a lot of minutes as well. And then, of course, the big center in the middle hold it down, Aaliyah Boston. On the year is averaging 14.1 points, 9.1 rebounds, an impressive 3.1 assists as well. And I love the fact, too, that she's averaging 1.3 blocks. I want to see it improve, though, because that's what she was averaging last year. But she's been a defensive anchor for them. She's been one of their most valuable players when other players haven't stepped up. Like, she's kept them in games. She's been tasked with some very tough matchups, man, a la Asia Wilson last night, who didn't have an incredible game. To be honest, honestly, like, it was kind of an off night for her in many ways. Aaliyah battled her twice, very physical, went up against Stokes as well. I was impressed with her effort, man, and her defense, just, patrolling. We've seen her take on Jonquel Jones like she's taking on the biggest. She held down Brittany Griner. Like, Leah Boston, when she comes and plays with that dog and that focus and that energy, man, she is truly an elite big, a difference maker, and love her footwork, her post presence. She's extended her range. I want her to continue to shoot that mid-range jumper, y'all. I want her to continue to shoot that mid-range jumper. Because her and Caitlyn in the two-woman game, that pick and roll where she can pop, she can roll. Like, Caitlyn has made life exceptionally easier for Aaliyah Boston to get buckets this year. And Aaliyah Boston just always has a nose for the basketball. Like, she is always in the right place at the right time, so love her game. Kelsey Mitchell, I don't care what she's asking for. Pay that woman. Pay her money. If they don't re-sign her, it's going to set this team back not decades, but years. It's going to set this team back years, and it may hinder the development of Caitlyn and this young core, man. Nobody on this team other than Caitlyn, who they rely on to be the immediate, like the elite playmaker, the key to the ignition. Nobody else can score the basketball like Kelsey Mitchell. She's a walking bucket. She constantly has defenses on their heels, scores it from anywhere. Just an elite one-on-one perimeter player, man. She's one of the best scorers in the league. Give her anything she's asking for, because she's making life a lot easier just with her catch and shoot ability, with her constantly moving off ball now, slashing to the cup, being one of the first ones down the court, just blazing down the field or down the court. It feels like the field, man. The way she's Caitlyn's number one target. Like, Caitlyn gets that ball out quick. That is a dynamic duo. And I will say, I was critical at first. It didn't feel like Kelsey Mitchell was playing team basketball to me before the break. It didn't feel like that she was going to be like a great compliment to Caitlyn in that backcourt. But I digress. I didn't feel like they complimented each other, like vice versa, on both sides. But I digress. They have been incredible. They've been the most dynamic duo probably in the league, the best backcourt in the league since the break ended. They've been incredible. The chemistry that they built, like, the break benefited the Fever over more than any other team, man. And we see it. Just the chemistry, the pace, how comfortable Caitlyn is running the show now. Her and Kelsey are locked in, man. And Kelsey Mitchell finally started catching the basketball, which is exceptional. She still drop a few, but it's exceptional to see. And then Caitlyn's impact, we talk about it on the court, off the court, economically. They're the most watched team in the WNBA. After being a doormat last season, they're finding themselves in playoff contention, locking up a playoff spot. And they're looking like a tough out, man. There are a couple bad matchups, I think, for them. But, even Coach Sods hasn't looked as trash as she has in the past as far as just making in-game adjustments and terrible rotations at times. Like, she's helped this team back and is definitely responsible for various losses, even though she is quick to throw these players under the bus. But it seemed like everybody's bought in. They're in the program. They're building something special here. They've bought into this culture that they're establishing. Caitlyn actually gets the ball back when she's passing it, and she's zipping that ball all around the court. We see her with the most assists in year one. Like, I know people, like, I don't see how we can't claim her as she's looking like she's going to be the best point guard of all time. She's had the best rookie season for a point guard of all time. She's already done something that Skylar Diggins hasn't done. Chelsea Gray hasn't done. Natasha Cloud hasn't done. Sue Bird hasn't done. Like, some of the best in the business that have ever played this position have not done what she's done in year one. The scary part is, bro, this is the worst she will ever be. This is the worst version of Caitlin Clark we will ever see in the WNBA. Like, it's about to get real spooky in Indiana. This is year one. Y'all. This is year one, bro. Like, it is about to get really spooky, and I'm expecting a potential playoff run. But all the doubters that hated on her, man, it's looking like bad business now. A lot of tweets are not aging well. People thought it was just a gimmick, that it was a facade. But nah, Caitlyn is the real deal, and she is making a huge impact in year one. And like I said, this is the worst that she will ever be in the WNBA. So it's definitely about to get real spooky. But y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments. That is a wrap for us. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up with all the latest and the greatest. Of course, this is the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. I am your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, we out.